folks, welcome to Market Technical Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leader in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. Today, Monday, June 16th, 2008. Well, as we get started today, folks, we're going to look across the charts and kind of see where we stand in regards to options expiration. Now, those of you that have been with us, we always talk about the volatility and the whipsaw action of options expiration week, specifically whipsaw Wednesday, which we have coined over the course of the last year based on major volatility we've seen in the market on the Wednesday of options X. Now, before we get into that, let's just touch on what's going on in this market. What happened today? Well, the Dow was down about 38 points, the Nasdaq up 20, and the S&P was flat. Now, the interesting thing here, those of you that were with us last week, remember, we had called for that rally on Thursday and Friday. We had gone to a slight rally on as of the close of Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, we got the rally. Then as of the close on Friday in the video, we mentioned we were going back to a neutral stance with a slight downside bias in the near term. Alright, so we're going to maintain that neutral bias as we expect much whipsawing this week. And you can see that's exactly what happened today. We had a neutral bias in the markets, and the Dow was negative, the Nasdaq was up, and the S&P was flat. So really a much of a non-event during the day today, as the volume was very light. And believe it or not, volume this afternoon was extremely light, and a lot of that was attributed to the Tiger Woods mediate playoff in golf. Believe it or not, as you had most of Wall Street probably watching that. A lot of the traders tuned in. So it shows you that it really does affect the volume on the exchanges, as we had light volume, especially this afternoon, one of the lightest afternoons of the year. Alright, but nonetheless, a mixed day out there, and we saw technology taking the lead again, and technology had been beaten down, so it's important to realize that you're going to get a bounce-back effect in technology, and we saw that a little bit today, as the rest of the indexes were basically flat to slightly negative. Now, looking across the board, what happened today? Because it was a very interesting day trading day, swing trading day. You look at this market, you're going to see some interesting things out there. Number one, what happened early? Early in the morning, we started out negative in the day. Now, right around 8:30, 9 o'clock, oils began to spike up. And as soon as that began to spike up, the markets began to retreat. You had oil trading up as much as $5 early in the day. Alright, we're talking right about the open, right before, and even at the open, oil was still up about $3, $3.50 around there. But the price that the USO hit, and I'm going to show you this chart here, folks, the price the USO hit at the opening price today was the high of the day, and it never looked back. Now look at this sell-off. Selling, sideways trend, selling, bear flag pattern, selling, bear flag pattern, major drop, bear flag pattern, but you're off a low here again, so it's not that much of one, and it's a little bit of a steep bear flag pattern, and then you basically trade off and trickle off into the close. So point here is, folks, the USO, which is the oil index, basically sold off all day. What happened to the markets? They all started down, and they started to drift positive as oil came in. So the oil trade remains intact, and we've talked about this oil trade. Anything over 130, you know, when oil's over 130, it seems to have a direct relationship with the markets. So when oil sells, the market rallies, and vice versa. When oil rallies, the market sells, and we saw that to a T today. As you can see, a lot of the charts were trending up all day, just like the oil here traded down most of the day. Alright, now, looking across the financials also gave this market a little bit of a bounce here. Finally, we're seeing some of the bounce coming into the financial players out there. Goldman Sachs, which, by the way, reports earnings tomorrow, which is going to be a big deal for this market, was up about $3.80 today. And this Goldman chart on the daily, I want to show you guys this quickly. Look at this bounce Goldman Sachs has had. Monstrous bounce here. Basically had come all the way down from over 200 all the way down to around 160, and just in 2 days bounced, or 3 days here, bounced back to over 180. Tremendous bounce in Goldman Sachs. Now the question is, what do earnings say? Well, Goldman has a history of never disappointing. So, you know, having said that, at the same point, it has bounced up, you know, over 10% just in the last 3 days. So a fact of the matter is, you guys know how we feel. We feel a chart that moves up into earnings has a lot more trouble continuing to move up. Having said that, we should all remember this is Goldman Sachs. This is the golden boy of everyone. All right, this is where Paulson came from Goldman Sachs. This has a little, you know, they're kind of favored out there, and I'm not going to go into anything more than that. Just understand that it's not this is not just a normal stock. It has a lot of connections out there, and you have to be aware of that when trying to trade the same pattern charts. So we're kind of just staying on the sidelines here. We'll see what Goldman Sachs does tomorrow. We're maintaining our neutral stance in this market, and we'll continue to watch because the PPI comes out tomorrow, and we'll have to see, does that show inflation? Does that show less inflation than expected, and so forth? And how does this market react to that? And that's going to dictate tomorrow. Now, this is going to be a very interesting next few days. We see possibly, and we're going to have to analyze the markets here. We'll have to see what we see tomorrow, but we're seeing possibly another little push in the market coming in on Thursday. We'll talk about that a little more tomorrow, as there's a possibility of a turn date. We're still trying to see the charts here, what exactly we're seeing on here, and we'll just be more definitive tomorrow going into the next day. But look for something coming in on Wednesday-ish, something major coming in on Wednesday-ish, Thursday-ish, right around there. All right, towards the end of options expiration, and it might start a new trend in the markets going into the following week and after. All right, so we'll keep you posted on that as we continue to trade these markets. Now, some other stuff going on in this market. Probably one of the best day trading days of the year. Number one, before we get into that, I want to quickly touch base on the intraday moves in the market, and I want to just show you guys exactly what was going on out there intraday. We talked about the oil trade, we talked about the financials, and this is what we're talking about. Here, oil is spiking from basically up $1 right here all the way up $5. Notice where you're coming into. You're coming right into the intraday ES200 moving average support. How does that happen and how does it hold? Don't ask me. It's just a moving average. It happens to work. A beautiful thing, these moving averages. Now, all of a sudden the market opens here at 9:30. Oil begins to sell, gets a little pop, begins to sell again, gets a little pop, and again you have oil, and then we have a little bit of a sell-off into the close, and that can be attributed to a little bit of profit taking. Remember, folks, the market Thursday and Friday was up tremendously. All right, and you have to, going into Goldman Sachs earnings tomorrow, going into the PPI number, you have to expect some profit taking, as we did as well, take some off the table there. All right, folks, so keep that in mind. But nonetheless, you basically see how this was. Here's $5 oil. Here's negative, or basically flat to slightly negative oil, as oil closed down a little bit on the day. So you can see the trend that basically developed here. And look at this. All right, you can see basically parallel. All right, you're staying within a trend in this movement, so you basically are establishing that trend at the 200 moving average down here, and you can draw from the top point to the tops, and you'll see parallel lines, and the market's trading constantly in between that. Very, very interesting market. Now, going back to the day trading side, phenomenal day trading market today. Easily, I would say, up there with the best day of the year, if not the best day of the year. It's top 3 without a doubt of this year, if not the top 1 of the day. And it was just a phenomenal day trading day. Trades left and right, boom, called it out. It ran, profits taking, and so forth. Just to show you a couple of the ones that we've been following in the chat, CHNR was one of them. CHNR picked it up here, sold right into here, right in this area right here on that pop. Continued to run. GRO, another one, picked up. There you go. Nice profit. Just constantly calling these out. Is a beautiful day trading market. Very easy to read today. Now, that's not always the case. Day trading is by far the hardest thing I've ever done and ever even come close to mastering. And by no stretch would I even call myself a master. I'm a profitable day trader that's pretty solid at doing what I do, but there's always more to learn, and we're always a student of this game, and we always continue to learn. But it was just a beautiful, constant move in this market. Another one that we had been talking about for a while was Sino Global Shipping. Look at this move. Basically from $10.50 closing at $12.40. Tremendous move here. Let's see what else we had going on today. CSUN. Solars were extremely hot today. All right. Look at this move in CSUN, China Sunergy. You could also look at SOLF. Solars were just unbelievably hot, especially the ADRs, which are the Chinese players in the solar industry. Very, very hot today. SOLF right here, Solar Fund, basically up from 18 and change all the way up to 21.5 today. $2.85. Just a tremendous move there. All right, CSIQ, Canadian Solar, up 346. And YGE, we can take a look at that, up $1 and change. So just a tremendous move across the board on the solar stocks. And keep a watch at these ADRs. The Shanghai Index has been crushed lately. All right, I do expect it's coming into support here on the Shanghai, and you may get a bounce. So stocks out there that are Chinese stocks are going to start to get a bid if that happens, especially if the market can hold on and not give back a lot of the U.S. gains. Now, if the U.S. market falls and China rallies, well, the U.S. Chinese ADRs are not necessarily going to rally as much. But should they both rally together, you get a better move off of it. And it's all about finding the stocks that are at the low end of their trend. CHNR, which was a day trade today, look at this chart. All right, here it is. Here, that was about 2 weeks ago. Here we are just now. It was a no-brainer as a day trade. You got the powerful up move in the market off the oil move. I saw some bids on the level 2 and read the level 2, and you get that pump right there. Now, whether or not it's done today, I don't know. It was a day trade, it's done, and it's over. And we'll look for these tomorrow. So I encourage you all to come join the Intraday Stock Chat, Intraday E-Mini Chat. We constantly teach throughout the day, explain level 2, explain the psychology, explain the whole mentality of technical trading and understanding while we talk about any trades that we do. Also join the Swing Trade Alerts and the webinar, by the way, guys, over the weekend. Just a tremendous webinar. Phenomenal. Make sure you guys get on the next one because all those that took it are years ahead of you now in knowledge. All right? Have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.